To the cloud. Hello and welcome to tonight's Zoom call at 8. My name is Julianne Peterson and I'm with Old Capital Lending. We are a commercial broker that we do deals with multifamily, storage, mobile home parks, retail, office, and anything in between there we can put together for you. Welcome everybody. We are in our final evening with Mr. Mark Ferreira. We're excited to have him again. I just wanted to reach out to some of the new folks, see what you're working on. Ramakrishna, have you been with us before? Rama.
He's new.
I see that.
And he's on
well,
mute, maybe.
Where are you, Rama? No?
He's from
not.
North Carolina. I could tell you all about
Okay.
him because I've worked with him. He's
All right.
on the ground in North Carolina, Greensboro. And he just joined probably like 3 weeks ago, but we worked together. We were actually students with Vinny Chopra. And he just joined, I think, the DMM group probably 3 weeks ago.
Nice. Well, welcome, Ramakrishna. Great to have you here. Wanted to see if anybody is working on anything or has any questions before we roll to Mark. Anybody here? Shaka, what do you got? Anything?
Not really. I mean, I was looking at a empty, vacant 48 unit last week. So kind of questionable, just low income area, but it's a lot of upside, but still kind of risky, I guess. So
it is, and on the debt side, that's going to be a little bit more challenging as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of just like not putting more energy into it, I should say. But yeah, Friday, but that's only the last thing I've been doing, I should say. But now I'm just basically analyzing some more deals and looking at stuff.
Good. Let's see.
Hey, Julie, this is Devin.
Hi, Devin.
Apropos of, I think I even sent you a message about this. I was looking through an offering memorandum for a 192 unit here in Louisville, and it has an assumable loan on there. And so this hopefully Mark found out some ways to model assumable loans in the SDA tonight. I'd like to understand how to better approach that.
Well,
I would like to better approach it too. Honestly, I've been trying, but let's go around, see if anybody else has anything else to say, and then we'll get into that. But we can try. I think what we're going to do is try to do an assumable, but the SDA is definitely not set up to model an assumable because I've tried every way, and maybe I'm just not seeing it, or maybe you just have to, do other things like maybe create another tab or something. But I haven't been able to do it. But we'll see. We'll go through it because, if one of us can maybe find a way, then I'll guide us in terms of like what I think we need to do. But you're not going to see it modeled correctly. Like the other fields do not line up. The returns don't look right. So I don't know. I think we may have to do that another time in terms of like maybe going through the process with maybe Josh Cooper or some of the other guys that may know this SDA a little bit better than me, and they may even say, no, it's not. You can't do it in this particular SDA. It's not modeled correctly with it. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll try.
Yeah, we're working on that. But Devin, we're hoping to come back and how to underwrite that with more information. So you sit tight. If we can't do it tonight, we'll look into it and get back to you for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, sure. Kevin, I see you unmuted yourself, so tell us what you're doing.
Well, so I've been looking into Utah quite a bit, and something I think it sounds like gibberish to me, but I'm wondering if you guys have are able to define this for me. one of the brokers that I was talking to was saying that the area has a lot of 180 to 20 deals. And I have no idea what that means.
180 to 20? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yes.
One.
And I would like to give you a better frame of like reference for it, but that was the entire, like that was the bit. I was asking them, you know, what kind of, I'm looking for apartments in the area. We're looking for like a 1 to 3 million range, 16 plus apartments. And that's what he fired back with. He said that the area has quite a few 180 to 20 deals. And then he started moving on to like, you know, and once I'm out of my car, I can look and see what I got for you. And like, okay. So I was kind of getting the impression that he was just kind of blowing me off and was just coming up with terms to confuse me. And he did a great job with that.
Yeah, he did. I'm confused. I don't know what that is. 180 to 20 deals.
Is that a HUD? I wonder if that's a HUD rating. We'd have to double check that.
The area did have a lot of yeah. That, I don't know, maybe. They had a lot of different like housing, or what am I trying to say? The housing community, where like you have the
Public housing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Section 8, maybe, or yeah, or
HHO. That's what I was trying to come up with.
HOA?
Thank you. HOA.
Oh, HOA.
I'm sorry. I haven't had coffee today, and it's been kind of a rough day. But HOA.
That I don't know what that means. We should do some research on it. But that's a good,
Yeah.
good
Do
question.
you guys know what capital stack means? Because I got stumped once with a broker when I was, I guess early on. He's like, so what's your, you know, we were talking about a deal, and he was like, what's your capital stack look like? I was like, I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure exactly right now. So I was stumped, and then, you know, right after that, I was just like, what's a capital stack? And really, what they're asking for is, like, how are you bringing your capital? What are you doing for financing? So they want to know exactly what you're doing for financing, for equity, like who are you bringing in? Are you bringing in investors?
What's your net worth? What's your liquidity? All of
Yeah,
that.
liquidity, everything. So basically your capital, where is all your capital coming from?
Gotcha.
And so that was a good one. I was just like, ooh, yeah, I felt stupid. And
That's where I'm sitting right now.
He stumped me. He's like, oh, he's a newbie.
Yeah. I think that's what this was like some kind of like, he clearly doesn't know what he's doing, so let's move on to somebody else kind of thing.
Well, who was it that said, I think it was Stuart that says, contact people that are not in the area that you want to work with so that you can practice and ask all the dumb questions so that you don't burn yourself in your reputation in that area.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think I'm winning in that side because we don't intend on going to Utah. So.
Oh, okay.
All
good.
right. Yeah. So yeah, that's good.
Utah's a really good market, but it's really hard to find deals there.
That's what I was noticing. It was
like
a lot like
the communities. Yeah, communities kind of work within each other. So yeah. All right, well, so let's making sure that we're not endorsing any deals. Just so you know, we encourage you to talk amongst yourselves, and you know, you guys are responsible for whatever comes of the deals. This is Michael Blanc's group. He is not endorsing this as well. We are doing this on the sidelines and helping each other. So always during the week, reach out. These are all of our brothers and sisters within the multifamily. So make yourself available, build your network, build your team. All right, so I want to really quickly go over the coronavirus. I think it's wreaking havoc all over the market and really affecting our industry. As you saw, our rates have dropped probably about 40 bips over the last couple of weeks. However, in the last 2 days, we have seen 25 bips come back. So they've put some spreads, some the 10-year treasury, we've put some caps on it and some spreads on those caps so that we are making sure that there's money in the deals for everybody. So yeah, it's a great time to buy. I would make sure that you guys are looking at the long term. You know, if you're looking at your bridge loans right now, we just don't know what's going to happen when you're done with bridge financing. And keep in mind, bridge financing is tricky. For a new operator, it's a lot of lenders are not going to be interested. So you're going to need to have someone in your team that can hold your hand during the those 2, 3, 4 years, whatever, 5 years it is that you're going to be getting your business plan completed. And then your takeout is really important to make sure that you're capable of getting a takeout on the Fannie or Freddie side. Ran into something just yesterday on a deal that Mark and I worked on, and having a hard time with the takeout. Now, Mark and I walked away from it, but the deal is still out there, and the takeout's going to be pretty challenging. So words of wisdom, double check that for the guidelines within Fannie or Freddie after your bridge loan. Okay.
And bridge loans are typically used if you're doing a reno, right? And you want to, so yeah, it's increasing the value of the property in like the first 2 years. You're thinking of doing a significant reno, and if you can't get Fannie or Freddie agency debt, a bridge loan would probably be the way to go, especially if you're going to have higher vacancy, right below, is it 90%? That okay, that agency. So if it's if it's not as stabilized, then bridge debt is probably something that you would need because you couldn't go to agency. And but yeah, just wanted to add that because I don't know, some of the guys are new, and you know, there's so many different options for lending, and we kind of wanted to go over some of those today to finish off, like how lending can make a difference, make or break a deal. And if you get the right lending, you know, it could really help a deal actually go through. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to add that.
Thank you. So coming from a lending side, we are your biggest partner. We're bringing the debt to you. So we're going to be asking for a lot of information from you. I only suggest that, you know, coming at it with a very open mind. You're going to need your personal financial statement. You're going to need a bio or resume. You're going to need your schedule of real estate. You're going to need your operating budget for the new year. How are you going to operate this asset, whether you're doing a bridge loan or from the day one? What is it going to take? How are you going to raise the rents? How much are you going to put into each of those? That needs to be communicated to us. And what your time frame is, which is what we've been talking with Mark. But making sure that your product is the loan is the right product for your business plan. There are so many different options out there. And so it's really important that you communicate what it is your plan is and how you're going to get it done. And then we can start looking at options for you. So as you know, as a broker, I've got quite a few different places that I can go for you as opposed to going direct. You know, we offer a lot of services. So when you're choosing a broker to work with, of course, you want to do business with the people that you know, like, and trust. So if I can help and I can be that person, that I would be happy to run your deal, have the conversation, and get you started. So
Devin was asking, what is a takeout that you mentioned earlier?
Okay, sure. So when we do a bridge loan. The bridge loans are only available for 3 years, and there's some optional extensions of one and another year and another year. Okay, so it's a total of 5. Now you're going to pay for those extensions, but at some point you're out of that. So the takeout is the next step. Am I going to a Fannie? Am I going to a Freddie? Am I going to sell it? Maybe you want this as a legacy asset after you do all of the rehab. So the takeout would be, you know, maybe a 10-year fixed, and depending on how big the deal is, you know, Fannie and Freddie have the small balance, or then you would go to a Fannie conventional. So we would just need to learn, like, what is it that you need from a lending standpoint and how we can get that done for you. So those are conversations that come up early when you're looking at a PM and you're communicating with your property manager, and you've reached out to an insurance broker. Come call me. Let's take you through what we can do for the financing, because ultimately, if you can't get this deal done, then it doesn't matter what the heck you're going to return. You really need to know how you're going to set this up and to return the cash-on-cash returns, or if you're going to do a pref. That's really important early on, okay? It all works out great on the SDA, but if you don't have the financing set up, doesn't matter, okay? Does anyone have any questions on that? No? All right.
If I could just add, without a business plan, you don't really have a deal either. Like I see a lot of, I mean, this is early on too. Like a lot of SDAs come across and we look at it. And it's just, sometimes they're just looking for feedback, but they don't have a business plan. Like if you don't have a business plan, the numbers don't really relate to anything. It's just, you're putting in numbers and you're guessing, but you really need a solid business plan, and you need a business plan with a PM. So you have to have a PM that are validating all your numbers in the SDA. And I was thinking about that the other day. It's like, if you don't know your business plan, you don't have a deal. There's nothing there. So something to think about. Like that's really key. If a business plan is so important, and it has to relate, it has to show in the SDA, in your numbers. But that's all.
I'm going to step back for just a second. And I want feedback from you guys. If there was a way that you could say to somebody, and you'd pay this person $500 to $1,000 to find an area, and by that I mean almost to the neighborhood, an area that is a good recommendation for what your business plan is, would you guys be willing and thinking that that would be worthwhile to you instead of spending your time and energy trying to find those markets? Because that's a lot of time to be searching different markets. You get a deal on your desk and you know nothing about that market, but it looks good, but you know nothing about it. Would you be interested? Would you be thinking, hey, that would be worth it to me to spend $500, whatever it is, for someone to give me information back?
So to have boots on the ground, like for market research or?
Market research. So somebody that is in the know, that would be, has a lot of capabilities to give you this information because they're well suited and very knowledgeable. Would you be interested, would anyone be interested in paying for that? Would there be a market for that?
I mean,
or do you want to do, does everybody else want to do that on their own?
I think you're going to want to know the market on your own. Like, you're going to want to do your own research, but I look at it as like if you can have boots on the ground, whether they're a partner or whether you're just working with them and you'll provide them like some sort of commission fee or whatever for finding a deal for you or just working with you. I don't know, like I like the partnership thing. Like if you're not in the market and you can have someone that knows multifamily, not that much, they don't have to know that much, but understand like you guys will partner on a deal and really goes touring on goes to tours for you, gives you feedback, gives you recon intelligence on the ground, like just and knows the market. Like you want someone that understands the market, what's a bad area, what's maybe a gentrifying area and up and coming.
So let me ask you a question, Mark. You see that Idaho is a great market, right?
Okay.
Everybody's heard Idaho's a great market. What if you don't know anybody up there, but you want to know where specifically in Idaho is the right area to go to? Would it be worth, again, I don't know how much it is, $300, $500, to call up someone and say, I'm looking in Idaho, I need the strongest market where there's, all of the 250,000, we've got, all of the companies coming in and the rate of increase and the crime and all of that. You haven't stepped into it, but you know that that's a good market. Would you be willing?
I think it's valuable. Yeah. Like I think there's a price for that. If I don't know the market at all, I mean, I would do my research, but if I needed more, I think I'd be using someone on the ground. Like I'd be talking to a PM, we'd be using a broker, I'd be talking to them. There's a lot more that goes in to like just knowing the information or having maybe the information there. Because it sounds like it's someone that is going to use some sort of a tool, whether it's, I don't know, Yardi, CoStar, and then combine it and then give it to you on. So I think that's valuable. I think it's good. You can get a lot of the reports too from PMs and the broker if you just ask them, like ask for a CoStar report and a lot of them will give it to you.
Okay.
But it doesn't give you like really rich information about the neighborhood, that feel. Like I could tell you about neighborhoods where I live and maybe reports won't show it as favorable, but I may love it and I would invest there, So I think being there on the ground is also really valuable, not just the report.
Okay, good feedback.
It's valuable, so I'd probably pay something for it if I needed that information.
All right, good.
Well, I guess
Mark, what's that?
Yeah,
Kevin?
go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just kind of continuing with it. I guess it's whether or not you feel you can trust the data that's provided, because your brokers, a lot of brokers will provide a packet that maybe it's for another deal. Go on LoopNet and you can find out a lot of this information in some of those packets that they provide. But if it's something that you feel like you're going to be able to trust, then it sounds almost like you would have like this person would be a partner of yours. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be like, are you talking about like some kind of network of people that are investing in their backyard and, hey, we need other people that want to invest in this area, so here's why I think you should invest in my backyard kind of thing? Or is it more of like, all this research is done, here's where I think you should go, even though I'm not from the area?
Yeah. There's enough data that is out there that they're compiling. I'm in a situation where I have some money coming from my 1031s, and I'd like to go to Las Vegas, and I know nothing about Las Vegas, and I don't have time to be researching it and taking hours and hours. So I'm thinking, hey, this person would be a great resource for me so that I can target certain areas that I know this is a great area to be looking in. and then to contact brokers in that area, top brokers in that
Oh, that makes
particular
sense.
area.
Okay, Julie, so would this service also, like, would this individual be the person in charge of making the initial foray into that particular market, like contacting PMs, contacting brokers, that sort of thing? Like they would do some initial research on the market and even the sub-market or trends. Maybe they would distill down some of the various reports that are online, the ALN data, the cap rate data, so on and so forth. So this person would like basically do a holistic search on a market and a sub-market and then like actually begin reaching out. Is that what they would do?
I don't know about the reaching out. I would think that there's enough data out there to state that there's certain brokers that are doing the business. That captures that data and would be a great resource for saying, this guy's the heavy hitter in this area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
hell
like
yeah.
a really advanced. Sounds like an advanced VA, like
Yeah.
like a really solid VA.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, someone is approaching me, so I want to talk to them about it. I want to see what the interest was here and see if there's, is it a viable solution or idea. So anyway.
I think you're talking about something that really, like, for people that are out of state like me, I'm looking in
Yeah.
different states, and that's that's somewhat of a problem, I guess, not being there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I could see the need and the value in that.
Yeah. All right, Mark, you're on. Take
I'm
it.
on?
You're
Okay.
on.
All right, let's see.
Let me, Put
Is my
this.
SDA up?
there you go.
Okay, so it looks like I scared everybody away, man. We don't have as many people today.
No, I think it's the coronavirus.
Then they should be in the house on this Zoom meeting right now. They shouldn't be in meetups right now. All right, so everybody knows the process that we've been through. We've been going over this one deal, and we've done a lot with it, and we're at that point where we're looking at financing. Last week, I went over the LTC, which is the loan to cost field, and I wasn't too sure on how it grabbed the reno budget, and that's what LTC does. It grabs your reno budget and finances it. So that's exactly what it's doing. So here we have the first mortgage, right? And we have the repairs and reserves. If I got a calculator, I could show you. But basically, when you click on when you change this to yes, it grabs a majority of, or 75%, depending on how your loan is. So I got a 75-25, and it's grabbing at least 75% of my repairs. Actually, I looked at it, and I think it's grabbing closing costs as well. So they have it set up to grab some of the closing costs. But I just kind of wanted to make sure that everybody understood like what that does. It's financing the budget cost at the same rate that you have your at the same, basically your same split. So 75 25. So if you got 25% down, or it's a 75-25 loan to value, it grabs 75% of your repairs. And that's kind of what that does. And it absolutely changes your returns for the better. So it's great if you can get that with lending. And all right, so we were at the, I believe, acquisition costs. And let me see here. And then we're going to go to exit strategy. One of the things that I do, and there's a lot of defaults that I have in my SDA, so I don't have to keep plugging them in over and over again for every SDA or every deal that I'm doing. And you want to put in your 6 months and of taxes and insurance. So basically what I do is I put the figure in, so it's automatic every single time. And basically what you do is the equals, okay? And then you go to the scenarios tab, and you click on the real estate. So right here, you can do here. Basically, the offer column is where everything that's going to be, your actuals, your year one is going to be. So I typically will grab it from my offers column. So real estate taxes, you grab that, and what you want to do is divide by 2. And that's basically what I do here. You divide by 2, enter, and it divides by 2. And you do the same thing for your insurance. So you do equals, go to your scenarios, go to your insurance, divide by 2. And you want to save this to the SDA that you use all the time, because this will change returns a little bit, very, very small, like a 0.25%. It's small, but it does change your percentage because it's money that you're bringing to the table. Like you have to bring this to the table, and it's upfront. It's part of your acquisitions. I mean, the acquisition costs, I guess. So I do that, these 2 fields. There's others that I do as well. I make sure that, like I always do a 75-25. There's just defaults that I like to do. And then 1% asset management and 2 or 3% on the acquisition fee side. And I just kind of wanted to give you that tip, just so you're not changing things all the time. And then interest rates, what are the interest rates right now? What do you think we should be putting in on our SDA, Julie?
I think if it's in a top or the large market, I think we're good with 4.25. If it's getting into tertiary, I'd say go put 4.5. Like I say, the rates, they're kind of all over the place, so always conservative.
Okay.
But I think you're seeing low 4s right now, so if we can pad it, I like that.
Okay. I've been putting in 4.25. So just a tip like that, and so you don't always have to change it. Also, things that don't get changed a lot is the cap rate. I always see this on some of the SCAs that are submitted, leaving the cap rate at 8. But that's also, that could change as well, depending on if you're stuck on a market though. If you're just performing the SDA on one market, then this might stay the same on your analysis. So, all right. So anyway, we looked at acquisitions, some of the things that could change the numbers and bring down your acquisition costs, like the lead paint. We talked about that as well. Like if it's 78 build and above. So after 1978, you don't need a lead inspection, so you can change that to 0. That'll save you some money. Anyway, all right. So in the exit strategy, this is where this is where we wanted to end off, because this could it can make or break a deal, really. And I was talking to Julie about this in terms of like, now that everybody's talking about recession and it's actually looking pretty bad out there. I mean, the stock market is nuts. It's up and down, and mostly down these days, but it looks like we're heading into something. So I'm conservative, and I'm looking at something that, okay, could possibly we may have to be in the deal for at least like 5 to 10 years, right? So ideally, we want to exit at 5. However, I think everyone would be wise to have a contingency plan to extend that. And how you do that is, that's all in the business plan. Like you need to know ahead of time, listen, we need to prepare to stay in the deal longer than we have to, depending on the condition of the market at the time we think we're going to exit. So in 5 years, you don't know what the market's going to look like, if interest rates are going to be high, if liquidity is not going to be there. Can people, who knows where it's going to be. So you may have to ride it out. Depending on what the financing is you did will depend on if you can ride it out or not. So I like the and Julie, you're gonna help me with this, but I'm liking the supplemental. So what you do is, like, if you want to cash out some of your investors, like let's say year 3, 4, 5, you would do something like a 10-year, right? So we'd be looking at like a Fannie Freddie financing right now. And if we could do a 5-year, like if you wanted a 5-year exit of some sort, maybe refi or sale, you could, in this deal, you can give 100% of the money back to the investor at 5 years. Now let me see what 3 years would look like. Oh, that's even. So in this case, like the numbers, I mean, I don't, realistically, I'm not sure these numbers would work anyway, but let's just say it did. If in this case, we can get into like a Freddie Fannie, right? Actually, it'd have to be Fannie to do a supplemental, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. So that's another thing. You have to know what your business plan is, what your contingency is going to be, and then choose the right loan for it. So if you're thinking about a supplemental that maybe you want to keep the property for a while, but you want to give back a majority of the investor capital, this might be an option, like a Fannie 10-year with a supplemental option. And the supplemental, it's basically a refi. That's how I model it. The problem is, though, I think with a supplemental on a Fannie, I think it's 75% loan to value. Is that
right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's where you change this. So if you're doing a refi, make sure, it's not always 80%. It could be a 75. And in this case, in a Fannie, if you're doing a supplemental, which in this model is basically a refi, you'd have to do a 75%. So at year 3, we wouldn't be giving back all the money, but 79, 80%, that's not bad. And then year 4.
It would be more like 70 to 75, not 75 to 80.
Okay, so it could be 75 max. It
Correct.
Could be 70, you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want it to be conservative, you want to put this at 70.
Now there is a fee for that. It's 1%. So I don't know how you put that in there.
Yeah, I think the refi, actually the refi cost is right here, and we could change that. It's at 2.5%, but is that just, who are we paying for that? 1% to Fannie. Are we paying any fees to the lawyer, or does that include like all the paperwork and everything?
So there would be a appraisal fee. It would probably be, probably more like 20,000 on that.
So is it more than the 1%? What's the 1%? The 1% is a straight
1% is like an origination fee.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have, your application fee and your closing costs. So they come to about 20, because they're going to run your legal. I mean, it's like getting another loan, right?
I'm wondering if because this is modeled for a refi, but you can use it as supplemental, this might be a lot. I'm thinking this is because a refi is going to cost more than a supplemental, right? A supplemental is just kind of an add-on. The refi is like you're refinancing with a different lender, right?
No. So if you're refinancing an existing loan with the same company, there's fees involved, 1% on that as well. It's going to be the same. The only thing that's going to be different would be a bridge loan would be higher on your bridge debt.
Okay.
And there's a fee, like going in is 1% and coming out is 2 or 2.5. So that could be what that is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what all this entails, the 2.5. It could be conservative. Could be less. You could be saving money here. I don't know. But anyway, so this would be like a supplemental, if we model that, and we would get only 70% back in 4 years. 5 years would be 78%. But there's different strategies that you can do. But you'd have to, like, we couldn't do a refi on, or could we do a refi on a Franny? I mean, on a Fannie or a Freddie? Like, it'd have to be a certain loan term before you did a refi, or you get a penalty, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you'd want to do a refi after, or, you know, again, it's in your business plan. And is that going to be, you know, after you've hit all of your, you know, whether your business plan is 5 years and then you've got 3 years, you hit all your numbers, maybe you say, okay, we're going to sell. Remember, if it's a Fannie or Freddie, you're going to, on a standard step down, you're going to have 2% to get out of that at 3 years.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's model that.
Or actually 3%.
Let's do a model like that. So you're saying, so it would be a 5 year to 7 year loan? What would be
5 year? Well, I'm thinking if you decided to do a rehab, you've got 3 years of IO, and you finished your business plan at 3, and you decided to get out of it. 10 year, it's a 10-year term. I mean, again, there's so many different options here, you guys. So let's just say at year 5, you got out. You want to just say year 5. Now your standard step down is 5, 5, 4, 4, 3. So you're going to get out with a 3% penalty.
Okay, 3% of the loan?
Of the loan amount left over.
Okay, let me see something here. So it'd be a 10 year. We get out in 5. All right, so we'd have to add a 3%, right, to our these figures over here. Capital. I thought I saw like a field where you add the penalties. Am I missing that? But let's find out what that penalty would be. 3% of the actual loan amount, right? So where was the loan? So it'd be 3% of that. Point, no, 0.03. No, what did I do? That's not right. Oh, I think it's 160. So 3% of 5.4 million. What am I doing wrong here? Times point.
Yeah.
Well, but you wouldn't have the 5.4 would just be the first mortgage, plus you would only be paying interest, so your balance is kind of hard to do that.
Oh, it would be the balance of the, okay. But it's only 3, you said it's 3%.
Yeah, your step down is 3% of what is left over on the loan.
Okay. Well,
so let's say you had 3 years IO. So you still have the same principal, and then you got 2 years that you have been in it. So we just don't know what that balance is.
Okay. But it's close because 3 years IO is nothing, and basically, so 2 years of maybe some principal drawdown, but not much. So it's close to this then, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's not much. I thought it'd be more than that. Okay, so we'd add that somewhere with the, in our.
You put it in line 17, wasn't you? Over there, like prepayment penalty on the front. You put it in that cell?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Is that for the sale? So it was like 160, right?
162.
Yeah. Yeah, I changed it. Let me see here. I thought that was just for the, oh, that's for, okay, that is for the refi. That's for the refi.
Hey,
Yeah,
Mark.
we don't want that then. We want a sale, right? What am I doing?
Yeah,
there?
we're going to sell it.
You're selling. Okay, sorry about that.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Look on your, if you go to your first mortgage, second mortgage, first mortgage refi tabs, you can see what the number is you're taking 3% of, I believe, depending on the year that you dispose it.
Yeah.
I don't know that it changes the number a lot, but
yeah, no, you're right. Right here. So year 5, if we sell year 5, balance is right here. So, yep. I mean, it's close to what we had, but absolutely, if we want to get. Oh, it's percentage. So 149, so about 150. Okay. Okay. So that was a refi. So by putting it over here, it doesn't really impact the sale, doesn't change the sale. So we just have to add it or minus something in here. And really it's just, I don't know if we can just, that's the capital transaction fee. I don't know, but we could, I mean, you could do the math. It's $150 that would be taken out of the returns. So, and it would be everyone's return. So we take it off the top. So we can take it from pretty much anywhere. I just don't want to mess with them. But all right, no, it's good to know. Like I've never done that, to be honest with you, Julie. So the step down, it's very doable. I thought it would be really expensive. So the 554433. Yep.
Yeah, so your interest rate's going to be a little higher when you go to the step down. It's about, I would say 30 bips. A little bit higher. There's another thing that you can also do, and when we get into finance, we'll discuss this. But let's say that you want to get out and this would have to be on a Freddie loan. It's only available through Freddie on a 5-year hybrid. What the nice thing about that is, let's say you're going to get out in 3 years. You can buy when I say buy, your loan can be structured so that you're paying a little bit more. It's called a soft step down. And that gives you a 3-1-0. I think it's 3-1-0 step down. So by the year 3, you're done. You can get out. If it happens where you needed the extra 2 years, well, then you've got it. But if you know that your business plan can be done in 3 years, and the closest that you want to get to that is a 5-year, that's another option. That's a great option. And I like to use that kind of as a bridge loan, because the ability to go 5 years, and actually you can go 20 years. After the initial 5 years, it adjusts. And that would, the term of that is,
stay in it.
Yeah, so gives you a little bit more flexibility, but you're in a 5-year, if you can't get your business plan done, if you want to get out in 3, you structure it that way. So I think that's a great option. And we can talk about that at another time.
So many options. And Yeah, I mean, each one needs to kind of follow your business plan. But so what's the difference in the interest rates with these hybrids? They cost more, like the interest rates are higher?
So actually on the hybrids, those are going to be a little lower in price.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Why is
because
that?
it gets to the adjustable at 5, 7, and 10, 12 years. Is that right? 12? These 7, 10. I have to double check on the 12. But
What's the adjustable? It goes from, I mean, it uses the
it's based
10-year
on right
and
now
now
it's based on LIBOR, and now LIBOR is like below 1, and it's, I believe, like 3.25
above.
plus LIBOR. So it's not a bad gig. Now, again, that's going to adjust with the market. So
Yeah.
there is a cap on that, and we look at that at time of signing.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we've got about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to wrap this up.
Hey,
Yeah,
can I ask a question, guys, on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so quite frankly, it was a confusing process back and forth, at least for me, completely inexperienced in this. It may have made sense to people who knew what you all were talking about. So here's my question for all this is, so like, what is the application? Is for me when I'm underwriting, do I model various exit strategies, you know, given like 3-year hold, 5-year sale, 5-year hold, 10-year sale, and I need to find various loan products that accommodate those various scenarios? Is that what we're trying to illustrate here?
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It sounds like I can really do that on my own, but I need to be in conference with, you know, with Julie or with a lender of some right. They ask these questions like, you know, like if I do it this way, then I get this result. If I do it this way, I get this result. I mean, am I right in saying that it doesn't seem like I can very easily underwrite that just based upon what I know or what I can easily discover on my own?
you can make assumptions. Like that's what I do. Like if I said, okay, you know what, I want to keep this for 10 years. And I want to maybe have some sort of a refi, or, you know, just take out the money, whether it's going to be a supplemental or whatever. And just see what things look like. Like a lot of times, if you stick with, you know, the 5-year hold, and, you know, the numbers may not work as well as if you actually did a refinance year 5 or something like a supplemental, or maybe, I don't know, like if it's something, especially now with, you know, where these conditions in the market are really looking like a recession, where you may not have too many options at your exit, at your, what you think you're going to exit at. And you just want that kind of contingency to keep the property for a while until things settle. So you know, this area is really, there's so many variables involved, but ultimately you need to, like, if you come up with a model here, whether it's a refi 3, 4, 5 years, and you want to kind of keep the property for 10, you just got to know that you talk to Julie, okay, yeah, there's a product out there for what you want to do. There's a product out there for, you know, a refinance at 3, 4, 5 years. And yes, you can, you know, keep the property for 10. So yeah, there's just options. What
I would add that, Devin, you're going to have investors, and you know what their strategy is, what they want to accomplish. And so it's up to you to provide what your investors want. Now, I'm an investor that wants a quick turn. I want my money in 3 to 5 years. I don't want it in 10 years. So I'm going to be looking for deals that are going to sit in my criteria. Now, maybe your investors are folks that want very little risk. And so they're willing, and they're young, they're willing to go 10 years. So you would be looking at deals where that's the plan is, I'm going to hold this for 10 years. I'm going to get them out in 8 years or 5 years, or I'm going to cash them out halfway. You kind of have to think about what do you want to accomplish, because that's what's going to attract your investors.
So this conversation kind of surrounds about, the flexibility on this tab in terms of how we deliver what we want to deliver to the investors and how we align that with our own personal intentions, right? Our own personal desires.
Yes.
From a lending standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's useful.
Yeah, and it also, like, if a deal looks decent, like it doesn't meet your requirements, or it doesn't meet your investor requirements with just the basic 5-year hold period and sell, it helps you come up with maybe a solution that would provide the returns that you want. Maybe keep it for 7 years and do a refinance at 3. There we go. Now you got your returns at 10% cash on cash and 17% IRR. It's very flexible. There's so many variables involved, but ultimately, yeah, you got to find the lending that'll support this, right? And that's what Julie's for.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you for explaining that.
Hey, Mark. Steve
Yes.
Gilmore here. I would just add, as a big picture, you mentioned knowing what your business plan is, just in terms of gross modeling. Like, unless you're doing a significant reno, I don't think a refi. That's the situation where a refi is going to make the most sense, because it's going to return a lot of equity that you've built up in the product or in the apartment complex early. Whereas if you're just kind of assuming a property that doesn't need a lot of value add to it, it's going to take a lot of years for you to be able to refinance out a significant amount of that equity. And so individual folks have to know whether that's the kind of property they're going after, something with that requires a bunch of work, so you can create some value for your investors, or you're just having a stable operating plan like Julie was mentioning. And you can just play with that and see how it works with whatever property you're modeling to see what those returns look like.
Absolutely. Yeah, and honestly, the refi doesn't work that well on just a basic stabilized, momentum play. Like in this case, we have rents going from 656 to 860, so $200 per unit in 2 years. So that's why this looks good with a refi in 3 years. It looks decent anyway. We've got green lights. So yeah, absolutely. This may not work. So if it was more of a momentum play, you may find like, this is going to be in the red and it may not work at 3%. But yeah, you can play around with it and find out what will work.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, Mark, for your unwavering support of taking us all through this. I so appreciate it.
I just hope I provided some value, and that's all. I'm not perfect at it, and I don't know as much as some of the guys that built this SDA, obviously, but hopefully everyone has got some value from it. That's all.
Absolutely. So I do appreciate that. I would just want to say, continue to look at deals. I would say continue to practice, send them off into the SDA or the DMM and have us analyze them there. Also, we are looking at a deadline for the DML. The Dealmaker Live is going to be, I think the 15th is going to be going up in price. So take a look at that. It is expensive, but it is a great place to meet all of us, as well as, all the other people that are part of Michael Blanc's group. And again, these are the people that are going to make you, get into your deal when you have one. So we're going to want to make sure that we have relationships before, based on our 506B and 506C. So I'm going to leave you with that. You guys take a look at that. I know that there's some hotels that are going to be filling up, so look at that. And
Can I
then,
just
so,
I'm gonna plug Old Capital podcast because
oh yeah,
you guys, if you guys don't listen to it, it's awesome. Like, it's just great. Like the financing, they go through it. Like the last one, I think it's episode 204. It was awesome.
excellent.
Comparison of the Fannie and Freddie, and they're just very good. Like, you know, it's not like comedy. It's not all that. It's just straight up like knowledge and education. I get educated every time I listen to it. So listen to that podcast. You guys are gonna like get so much value from it.
It is good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And as always, as Lou Holt says, do the right thing, do everything to the best of your ability, and show people you care. I care about you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next week. We'll have a special guest talking to us about 1031 exchanges. So good information. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks,
Take
Julie.
care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Julie.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
Stop.